Guys, I know my video is a little late, but I'm going to keep this short and simple. The first question that we were supposed to ask is, what are the top three concepts you find most relevant regarding the value of and in organizations? Why did you select these concepts? First thing that I selected was division of labor, and the reason that I selected that was basically because I think it's very important for people under you and around you in the workplace, not just to know what they're doing, but why they're doing it and the concept behind it. I think that is very important because if a setback happens or if a change in the plan happens, people can react on their own individually without you having to micromanage and go around and tell everyone the next different thing, and it just saves you a whole lot of trouble. And it also makes people around you feel like they have a purpose. Second thing that I chose was values, and more importantly, the shared workplace values. I think it's very important for a leader to establish what his values in the workplace are. And the reason for that is because then you can create good courses of action for if an issue happens or it arises. People know what to do, and sometimes I think without that, people will overreact to a small situation or underreact to a larger situation that could be squashed at its birth, but instead it gets bigger and bigger because what should have happened isn't done. And another thing under there that I did not know and that we learned about was that development process, and I thought that was very important as well. Finally, the third thing that I learned that was different was micromanagement, and then more importantly, like how to avoid that. I think a lot of people suffer from being underneath someone who micromanages or being around someone who micromanages, and it's terrible. I know that I've been in a workplace where I felt like there was no trust. Every little thing that I did was someone looking over my shoulder, and as an employee in a workplace that suffers from that, it's hard to feel like you have value. It's hard to feel like you are a trusted part of an organization, and overall it just makes your time there with that company terrible. The second question that we had was, what value does social media have as it relates to communication in organizations? Tremendous. I think social media is the number one way that we communicate today. I think it's made the world a much smaller place, and in that it's made corporations much closer together. I think a corporation or a business that's in Detroit can talk to a organization or a business in China, and they can make a deal or do business just as easily as if they were in the same city, and I think that's very important. I think that it also intertwines personal and public life. I think that if you're going to hire someone, you can use their Facebook account, and a lot of places will ask for it to see if, that first look that you're seeing isn't just a first look and you're being misled. You can look at their Facebook and see, okay, this person doesn't do anything crazy, they don't do anything out of the ordinary, but at the same time I think this is also a negative, because I think that there needs to be a line drawn between personal and public life, and I think through social media, companies are pushing through that line and making it so that people can't have a personal life without fearing for their jobs. One major one was LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is crazy. I'd never before this never really used it, but you connect with so many people that you used to know, and it helps not just with job offers, but if someone's having an issue or needs something and of a place that can help them with that, it really helps. Also, it helps develop, I think, relationships in the workplace. I think it brings people in a workplace closer together and allows them to kind of bond. Again, LinkedIn, I think Facebook and Twitter, obviously, when you see things on there, it really helps to that water cooler talk, to just talk to someone. Finally, advertisement, and advertisement is big. Companies use social media all the time and in a major way, because that's what we're always on. It's on our phones, it's on our computers, it's all around us that we have this social media, so that advertising, it's really changed the face of advertising. Finally, the third question was, why are you required to explore social media? Well, obviously because we're going to be communications professionals, and social media is a major way to communicate. I think that by using social media and learning to use it effectively, we're not only able to externally communicate with other businesses and the public, but we're also able to communicate in the organization that we work for. And I think that's very important to do. The final question is, what are the consequences of social media use in and for organizations, both positive and negative? Relating to the second question, many positive means help communicate faster, communicate more efficiently, get things done on time. You're able to create bonds. But I think the negative is that it limits personal interaction, and it makes it so that I think people feel like they don't need to see people face to face. And I think a lot of things can get lost in translation with social media. It's the same thing as texting has taken over phone calls. Sometimes you do things and your feelings and that nonverbal communication that you would usually have if you're close to someone, you don't have that, and so that they might take something different than what you meant it for. This is on my phone, so I apologize if it's got crappy audio or visual, but thank you guys again.